My name is David Baxter. I am a procurement specialist as well as what I call a PPP navigator. I do this in collaboration with the World Association of PPP Units, where I serve on their steering committee. Over the years, I have been working with public-private partnerships. These are structured agreements between the public or the government sector and the private sector, so these could be developers and investors, to provide a service. So this could be hospital care, healthcare, education, or to build infrastructure, so large toll roads, bridges, dams. So where the private sector will introduce innovation, the resources, and often financing to bridge a funding gap that often exists where the government doesn't have the money to build it. They will be given a concession, and they provide the service where they share the risk. I mean, you can think of a large mega project and how many things could be risky. So if they meet the desired outcomes and provide the deliverables, they get a good score and they get paid. If they don't, they can often be asked to undertake corrective mitigations, and then they won't get paid until it's fixed. And then you do unfortunately have circumstances where some of these projects go south and they go wrong very badly and they fail. And that's one of the biggest challenges that PPPs face is, winning over multiple stakeholders and ensuring that all parties' interests and stakeholder interests are met. Apart from independent consulting, I'm a PPP advisor to the International Sustainable Resilience Center. ISRC was also a spin-off of some of the initiatives by the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe's initiative out of Geneva, where they decided to improve the practice of PPPs through creating centers of excellence. And so the one that was formed in New Orleans was focused on sustainable and resilient infrastructure. This is a pressing concern and an issue that faces PPP projects. It just takes a major event like the Ukraine, for example, because when you enter into that partnership to deliver a service or deliver infrastructure, if something impacts it, if it's availability of manpower for the projects, if it's raw materials that you need for construction, if that gets impacted, PPP projects get under stress and can fail. And so it's required a hardening of infrastructure, understanding what sustainability means, understanding what resilience means, and then also coming up with adaptive strategies to combat this, because I don't care what anyone says, but we don't know even in 5 years' time what's going to happen. If you just think of the pandemic, 3 years ago we were naively enjoying our world as it exists, and it's completely different. So to me, a successful project is very simple. It's built as it should have been, it's maintained as it should have been, it generates enough revenue to pay itself off, and people use it and enjoy it. If you have an airport PPP, you would want to ensure that the health and safety is maintained, that the airport can accommodate changes. Is it expandable? Air traffic increases. There are so many ways that airports can raise revenue, and it provides all of those. It's successful. PPPs aren't that much different to design-build projects. You go a little further. You go from design to build. Then when you bring the private sector in, you're bringing financing in, and then you're bringing management and operations. So there's an acronym that stands there for DBFOM, Design, Build, Finance, Operate, and Maintain. Ansarada's platform was the ideal platform for this because it can address the design and all the information that needs to be stored and the information that needs to be recollected and verified, but it also during the construction or the build phase it happens. But what's important is once the PPP project is sort of a turnkey operation is handed over to the operator, you've got to understand the financial conditions as well. The revenues that are coming in, the payments that are being paid to the debtors. This also worked very well with the platform. And so there's a lot of information flows that have to be restored. You can very, very quickly find yourself in a situation of disorder. What the Ansarada platform brings is it brings a coherent, cohesive, seamless system that introduces order to the whole process. You might work for a company for 2-3 years and then somebody comes to you and says, I'll give you twice your salary if you come and work with us. And people do that and it's understandable. Then you've lost that knowledge of the project. But with the Ansarada platform and the software, you don't, because it's still there. And I think that's one of the biggest advantages. Ansarada, I think, also provides what we would call a technological obsolescence. New technologies are constantly being introduced. And I believe that Ansarada's platform, which is constantly being updated and improved, will address these changes in how we do business in 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, 30 years time, which we don't know. Not only are we looking at sustainable and resilient projects, but we're also looking at sustainable and resilient platforms that can support these projects, which the Ansarada Platform has done quite well. I'm David Baxter, and I'm a Pathfinder.